Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California. I'm super excited to share with you my Spring 2020 Plant Tour Patio Edition Part 1 of 2. For the first time ever on the channel, I'm splitting up the tour for the patio into 2 parts to not have a video that is longer than an hour besides a Planting with Jewelyn live. So in today's video, we're gonna break down everything that is in the front half of the patio, and in tomorrow's video, which I am filming right after this, you're gonna be seeing everything that is on the back half of the patio. So many things have changed in my space since the last plant tour. I'm able to do Planting with Jewelyn lives, which has been really fun for me, with the open space here, which I'm so thankful for. Finally, after several years living in this space, I'm able to have my patio like string across, which brightens up the space. It is nice and open. My plants get more sun. There in the patio, I was able to incorporate these cute little hanging things that you'll see that I purchased well over 20 years ago from this cute little store on my island that I used to enjoy going to and buying all of these hanging decorations. And now 20 plus years later, they are being showcased in the patio, which is so special. So I hope you guys enjoy little things like that. So stay tuned for part 2 of my patio plant tour. At the end of that video, I will be doing another giveaway. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm super excited to share with you after all of this spring clean with me. The space is looking warm and inviting, and I am looking forward to sharing with you what the collection looks like currently. All right, so we have Ebby here welcoming us to the patio, and I want to give you guys just a quick little overview of the space before I hop in and break down the collection for part 1. The right side is still the same. I still have my succulent DIY shelf with the wood and brick method. That's absolutely my favorite way to style a bunch of plants that is very inexpensive, and you can get it to the dimension that you want for your space. So that's a very fun way to style plants. My potting bench is still on the left side of my entryway to my studio. It works well for me there. I would love to maybe switch it up at the end of the year to another part of my patio, but for the most part that works really well because the back is just snugged right against the studio wall. As soon as you enter into my space on the left hand side, there's a few changes and a few things that remain the same. My fountain is still in the same place. My wooden thrifted bench is still up against the patio wall, housing a bunch of plants. I really love that setup there, but I did incorporate my vintage spiral plant stand. I moved it in a recent clean with me. I absolutely love the look, how it kind of hugs over and behind the fountain for a very lush, warm look. And I'm so glad I finally decided to split up my chairs. So this is one of my vintage wicker chairs. I love vintage, thrifted, and wicker. And as you see behind there, I'm able to have a few vintage wicker plant stands, both purchased from Las Vegas. I love how the plant stands and the plants being able to come up into different level changes. It's kind of giving that warm, cozy little nookie vibe. I really love it. So now that I'm able to hug plants around the chair into different tiers and level changes, it really makes that little corner nice and cozy, and it's just one of my favorite nooks to sit in the patio. Really, on the right hand side, everything remains the same. My succulent shelf is still the same layout. I absolutely love it. But if you watch my recent Planting with Jewelyn, my spring clean with me, you know I did a big overhaul of taking a bunch of plants out, which I propagated in recent Planting with Jewelyn lives, and I was also able to incorporate a bunch of planters and plant babies from subscribers and plant friends, and it's just so nice. I absolutely love my succulent shelf. This layout will always remain the same, and if anything, just the plant babies will get switched up. I love how I'm able to house a bunch of plants with this very inexpensive DIY plant shelf. So if you're looking to find a way to style plants, I highly recommend this way of styling. Very inexpensive, and you can get it to the dimensions specifically to your space. So I love that layout. I'm never going to change that. As far as for the layout, everything kind of remains the same. On the right side of my studio, I have a bunch of hanging plants still on my door, my potting bench, and my planter stand, which you'll see in part 2. I include my Tiffany blue table and kind of switched up the level changes here with incorporating plant stands around the Tiffany blue table. I love the look of it on an angle. It definitely gives a different vibe to this space, and now I'm able to do some probably interesting planting with Jewelyns with different backgrounds, but I definitely love being able to plant by the fountain. This table is my ride or die. I do all of my Planting with Jewelyn videos on it. So this table I absolutely love. I got it thrifted. I sprayed it Tiffany blue, my favorite color, and it does everything from planting, editing, eating dinner, hanging out, and it's just an all-around awesome table. I love the way that I was able to bring it out on a diagonal for a different look, and you're able to still be able to appreciate the plants against the patio wall behind. One of my favorite point of views, as you see, I have my other wicker chair by itself, and that's fine. That chair moves around. Technically, I don't like it styled there, but for now it works. Right behind it is my grill. There's a bunch of big hanging plants that I wish I could hang up again. With the heavy rain and not having a ladder in my space, it's hard for me to do another wire going across my patio to hang them back up, but for now they're just living on plant stands. As you see, I moved my wicker coffee table also on a diagonal to kind of give that back corner a little cozy look. To plant gang back there in the corner, and it just definitely gives a different vibe. So standing from this point of view, first few steps into my patio, you're able to see both of my tables and all of the plants that are in front and on the side of it. So I definitely love this look. Comment down below, what do you think? On the patio, my DIY brick and wood plant stands still remain the same layout. I really don't know how else I would be able to style plants, but for now this works for me. I'm still able to accommodate a bunch of plants. For the most part, all of my plants do get sunlight throughout the day, so I'm definitely not worried having plants styled against the wall. As you see right now, there is nice dappled lighting, and I'm able to hang a bunch of plants up along the side of my patio, so I do make it work. And it's one of those cozy parts of my patio as well, that I'm able to kind of cover the wall with nice green babies. If I'm standing in front of my potting bench, this is my point of view. A very cozy little corner as well in the patio. You can sit anywhere in the patio and you're going to be surrounded around green. The layout remains the same. I still have the brick and wood plant stands up against the wall, housing a bunch of babies. And it's nice to be able to see them from anywhere you're sitting. You can still appreciate them up against the wall. Get sun more now that the space is nice and open. So comment down below, what do you guys think? How else can I use this wall? Do you think that the layout that I've been using works, or do you think I should switch it up? For the most part, I would not be able to do a third shelf. 2 is probably the most I can do, but I'm still able to house a bunch of plants, and that works for me. So now that you were able to get a glimpse and overview of the patio, we started with a detailed tour of the front half of the patio. Welcome to the succulent shelf, one of my favorite projects and areas to kind of just sit, relax, do some plant work. And I worked really hard this spring 2020 to incorporate everything that is currently living on the succulent shelf. Let's go ahead from left to right and break down what's currently living on the shelf. As you enter my space, you see I have my Sunmobile here, and it is something new that I incorporated into the space this tour. This is well over 20 years ago from that favorite store of mine on the Big Island. I would love to know if it's still open. Everything hanging from the most part in my patio is from that same shop. My string of bananas still trails on the edge of my plant stand. I love it a lot. You will see that I have my hidden repainted Tiffany blue owls that I thrifted from Arizona, and my dancing bone ripsalis just kind of hugging the little nook of the entryway. So definitely I love to be able to kind of use up the space and have babies tucked here and there. So I love the little coziness of this section. I'll be behind the camera for this so you can see what's going on up close. My succulent in the white planter next to my string of bananas, I got that from the Bay Area from my host a while back. If you watch that series of the Bay Area content, I go there every summer for my dance school, but apparently I won't be going this year, so that's really sad for me because I would love being able to bring Bay Area content on the channel. Echeverias and sedums in the collection that you'll see spread out throughout the space. Recently gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita. This was from our third trade, and the planter came from my subscriber Jill, which I've been mentioning her a lot in my plant tours because she had gifted me a bunch of planters for my collection. So thank you to my wonderful subscribers. Immediately to the left of it, you see my variegated Cressula ovata. This is one of my favorite plant babies on this succulent shelf, and this was gifted to me from my other subscriber in Temecula. It's nice to see plant friends and subscribers, plants babies incorporated in my collection, and it's nice that you guys are able to see it as well on the channel. So plant babies are doing really good in my space, but definitely one of my favorite variegated succulent babies I've never seen this variegated cressula before, so I was really happy that I was able to get a part of her mother plant. The squirrel next to it, I believe, came from Carrie, my plant friend. My variegated kalanchoe is also another plant gift from my subscriber in Temecula. My variegated elephant's bush next to it. I have a lot of subscriber plant babies gifted to me on the succulent shelf. My variegated kalanchoe calancho is from my subscriber in Temecula. And next to it, my variegated elephant's bush is a recent gift from my subscriber in Santa Clarita. Behind it, I have my lemon lime. We love having little guys here from Las Vegas incorporated into my space. I've had him now for probably 4 or 5 years. Orchias and Gasterias in my collection come from Las Vegas. I absolutely love the windows on this one. And the teacup that it's in is a thrifted find that I got in Arizona when I did a bunch of content almost 2 years ago. Planters. The small planter, I believe, came, I'm not too sure where I got the small little tiny terracotta in the center there, but it's housing a little baby that I want to probably propagate in my next live. The smaller terracottas on both sides of it came from my subscriber. I have just little babies here and there, and I have more sedums, I have more kalanchoes. I love the ice cream planters that I call ice cream planters. Were purchased from the 99-cent store, believe it or not, in Las Vegas a while ago. I bought them out. I absolutely love it. And I believe the kalanchoe was gifted to me from a subscriber, and that was probably in my collection for several years now. And this cute little sign is a gift from my mom. And the owl planter is pretty cute. I love it a lot. And that Crescentillum has been actually with me for some time. It's probably 4 or 5 years old from Las Vegas. And as you see here, the kalanchoe calancho here is a gift from one of my subscribers recently. You will see that as a trending sentence along the way of this plant. Kalanchoes, calanchos from subscribers gifted to me as well. I want to say this is a euphorbia pickle plant. This is mine's from my mother plant, and this one was gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita. Being able to pop cobalt blue in between terracotta for contrast. So I have echeverias and sedums and all kinds of things on this shelf, which is fun for texture and just dimension. In the center here, I have my ripsalis. One of them I decided to bring out. See, I have another planter on it to help my ripsalis stand tall. And I got that plant baby in there recently from my plant friend Sonia. She's also a subscriber and client of mine. I don't know the ID on that, so if any of you guys know, let me know. But it's just been in my collection just for a little bit, maybe about 2 weeks. Now, if you watch my recent live last night, then you know that the variegated bear paw came out for my spring 2020 plant tour. So it's very fun that my channel was able to help me decide if it should come out for the tour or not. And then at the end of the top shelf here on the corner, you see my trailing jade, and this particular trailing jade came from my subscriber in Temecula. So that is everything on the top shelf. Most of the plant babies on the top shelf came from subscribers, and probably 30% is my own personal collection. So it's nice that I'm able to incorporate plant cuttings and plant babies that are gifted from you guys. I just love being able to incorporate it into the collection. Right, here's a nice point of view. On the right hand side, I have some string of hooks. I believe this came from my subscriber in Temecula. And I just have interesting things along the way. I have some haworthias, I have sedums, I have an interesting, I want to say maybe some sort of cressula here in the center next to the right side of my owl, and that was also gifted to me from my subscriber in Temecula. And my variegated aeoniums in the cobalt blue planter, I'm not too sure if I purchased him or not, but for the most part, this second shelf is half purchased from me and half gifted to me. I didn't purchase any of the plant babies on the second shelf. They've been with me now for 4 or 5 years. And I love being able to tuck an owl here and there to style. I think they're so cute. Being able to hang plants off of the shelf, and it just gives a lot of whimsical vibes to the space. So yes, 50% probably of the plant babies that are on the second shelf here is gifted from my subscribers. So very fun. It's the top point of view of the third, fourth, and everything in front of the shelf. gosh, I really love this point of view. Right corner here, I have some elephant's bush. I recently put back into terracotta. The planter came from my subscriber. I believe these elephant bush is from Las Vegas for several years. I know I propagated a bunch from Arizona, and they're being styled in different sections of my space. My Sipilia next to it is also a gift from my subscriber in Temecula. I got some Haworthias, Echeverias, different kinds of things here. Comment down below if you know the specific. I'm good of remembering the names of succulents and cacti off the top of my head. So if you know any of them, then please chime in. I have some kalanchoes that were probably gifted to me from plant friends and subscribers in this planter. I cut them down on a recent planting with Jewelyn because I felt like they were too tall. But you'll see in a second that I have plant babies gifted to me that I did not cut. And they kind of have that tall, leggy look. That's a characteristic of them. So I'm kind of interested to see how well they're going to do now that I cut their legs off. But I absolutely love that I was able to style them for this spring 2020 planter and have them come out of the greenhouse. Asterias here, all from Las Vegas. My variegated string of buttons were a find from my flea market here in Los Angeles. I got kalanchoe. In the back left corner, you see some type of cressula, and I got that from my host in the Bay Area. So very fun shelf. I have a little variegated, I believe, coral aloe, and that is from my plant friend Carrie. So very fun third shelf. I have more plant babies from different subscribers and plant friends. I will say that the propeller baby in the back there is from my mother plant that died from the rain, unfortunately, but at least I have the mother plant. These copper spoons were recently gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita. And on the left side of my owl, you see a variegated Senecio trailing jade, and that is a gift from my subscriber in Temecula. Succulents next to it. Also, the trailing babies in the corner here, next to the variegated trailing jade, is also from my subscriber in Temecula. So very fun to see them kind of just incorporated into the collection. And these are recently planted for spring 2020 planter. They were living in my greenhouse. More fun plant babies. My campfire jade has been living in my greenhouse for a while. That came from Las Vegas a couple years ago, so I brought it out for the tour this season. And I have my peperomia happy bean. I think one section is from my original mother plant, which is that big chunky section in the back, and the rest came from my subscriber that was gifted to me, my subscriber in Santa Clarita. And I have it in a cobalt blue and white planter that I got probably from TJ Maxx, Las Vegas, or Home Goods. Calantros. I recently planted this up. This was also gifted to me from my subscriber in Santa Clarita, and I did not cut off the long legginess of it. I decided to keep it. Let me know what you guys think. Should I just keep it? I kind of like it because it gives kind of dimension and like different heights to the plant babies in this section. I have one of my beautiful Tradescantias kind of just cascading over the plant stand. I love how it just brings a different texture and layer to this corner. Here you see my recent plant babies in this very long white planter that were gifted to me from Sonia, my plant friend and subscriber client. And then I just have my sun and moon decor that I got from that shop 20 plus years ago. So during the day when it's sunny, I have the sun out, and when it's nighttime, I'll flip it to the moon, which is on the opposite side. On the left hand side, you see my ponytail palm. He's been with me now for at least 5 years. He's originally from Las Vegas. Tucked here behind the corner is my kalanchoe. I believe I got this one gifted to me from my subscriber in Temecula, but literally guys, I will use every nook and corner to tuck a baby, so I just love that I'm able to take up some space here. Everything on and around the succulent plant shelf. Let me know what do you think about it. I want to say at least 60% of the plant babies came from plant friends or subscribers, so that's pretty cool, and I absolutely love the vibe of this corner. Favorite sections is right here. This is my very cozy, charming fountain. I love this. If you haven't seen me set it up, go ahead and find it on the channel. Ever since I purchased this fountain, and I've always wanted one in my space after getting my potting bench, I definitely wanted a fountain for this space. I have not turned it off since. The only time it is off is when I'm traveling, but when I am home, this thing is always running, and I love being able to hear it. It's to the point where if I don't hear it, then something is wrong. I love that I was able to incorporate just different level changes here. I still have one hanging section that is still working and doing its job that I did on my own. So I have a bunch of hanging plants that I'm able to kind of house right above and around the fountain, which you'll see in a second. Tucked behind there, you see my vintage spiral plant stand, and I just love the look of that. So now the fountain is kind of hidden and plants all around it. Just kind of, I love how the fountain is hidden with plants all around it. It definitely gives a jungle vibe. So let's go ahead and break down everything that is in this corner. As soon as you walk into my space, I do have plants on the ground on the left hand side. I have one of my mother plants of my Hoya obovata here welcoming us. Next to my Hoya obovata, I have my jewel orchid. Comment down below if you think this is a good place for my jewel orchid. I'm still trying to figure out where it is going to be the most happiest, but for now it is living next to my Hoya obovata and one of my ripsalises. I do have a lot of ripsalises kind of tucked here and there, so I have two side by side, and I absolutely love how they just kind of give different dimensions to the space. Variegated jade, I've had that for a while now. I'm trying to think where I got it from, maybe from Long Beach. And then I have this interesting, I want to say euphorbia, that I got from Long Beach as well. And I just love being able to tuck them here and there. So that's everything that is on the ground on the left hand side as soon as you enter my patio. This is an interesting corner. A lot of ferns, a lot of different sigoniums here. Some that you may not see, but I know they're there. So in the back corner, I do have a big silver sword fern. I absolutely love this thing, and it's so happy tucked here where it's hugging other things and kind of in the shaded area. There is sunlight here that kind of pops up in the morning, so it's just perfect for them. I absolutely love it. Next to my fern, which you can't see from this point of view, I'll bring it out in a second, is my sigonium. It loves living in this section, so I just kind of been housing them there. My begonia, which is currently in bloom right now, I recently moved here. I want to say it's going to be happy here, so let's see. I'll leave it for the next couple of days. And then I have my blue star fern as well as my asparagus fern kind of hugging that little corner, and I have my peperomia ruby cascade kind of trilling on the side of the bench. And then we have some hanging plants here. I have my peperomia glabella, one of them, as well as one of my string of dolphins. And then in this blue and white planter, I have one of my peperomias that were gifted to me from my subscriber, plant friend client Sonia. She has a long title, but she watches the channel every day, and she's definitely a big supporter of the channel. And it was so sweet that I was able to get a very interesting peperomia for my birthday I've never seen before, and it really loves living on the top of the bench and kind of trailing up alongside of the wall. Very fun plant. I have my alocasia lowrider living on the top tier, and it loves living life right there. I see a lot of new growth, so that makes me happy. Very hard plant, so if you're looking for an alocasia that is not dramatic, stay away from this one. I currently see a new baby popping out, so that'll probably be for this month's pot of fame. Super cute. My spider plant collection, my curly baby is giving me lots of new babies, so it's definitely very happy next to the fountain, which is interesting. So the rest you'll see in a second are kind of hugging the fountain, and hopefully I'll get more babies as well. Here we are on the bottom tier. We have another arrowhead sigonium, lots of new growth. So now I know sigoniums love being around the fountain. I'm gonna try to incorporate more sigoniums if I do have them into my space, which I try to avoid getting sigoniums, but they're kind of a hit or miss for me. Sometimes they do good, sometimes they don't. But for the most part, a bunch of my sigoniums are hugged around the fountain, and they're really happy. One other plant baby that's tucked here that is not being seen. But as you see here, lots and lots of new growth. So I'm definitely keeping it here next to the fountain and in the shade. So food for thought. I do rotate my plants, and I also turn my plants, but for whatever reason, it is nice and happy there. Everything in front of the fountain. So my philodendron xanadu has been kind of living in front of the fountain for the most part. This is one of my original plants from Las Vegas, probably about 5 years old. I have it propped up on a cinder block just to get it a little bit more higher. This is a recent baby next to the fountain, one of my philodendron pandas, or bipennifolium. I love having him here. It obviously is happy next to the fountain. So I'm gonna just keep it here for a while. I do need a higher, longer stake for it, because as you see, it's already probably 1.5 feet taller than the stake, so that's kind of crazy, but very fun to see. It's happy. We do need to do more DIY poles because this one is now past about 2 feet longer than the pole that I originally staked it up. On the right side of the fountain, you see one of my alocasias doing really good. I believe I got this one from Sylmore, California, so here in Southern California, not near me. Doing really good. And behind there you see part of George. He had a big accident. If you watch the channel, then you know what happened to him, so part of him lives here. And then let's talk about everything that is on this plant stand. I'm able to bring out my sun and moon wind chime that I got for over 20 years ago. I love it. And I'll show you the other wind chimes that are welcoming us as soon as we enter. I do have my variegated peperomia scandens. Oh, one of my favorite plants. It just thrives there. And I have my rabbit's foot fern that was gifted to me from my subscriber in Temecula. I have also my goldfish plant, and as well as my beautiful aeoniums that were gifted to me from my host in the Bay Area, and it's doing really good in that hanging planter. I love it. You see a few spider plants. I absolutely love my Hawaiian spider plant. I would like to propagate it in the near future. I've not taken a baby from it, but a bunch of my plant friends have babies from my original spider plant there on the top. I have one of my beautiful Hoya Bellas. This is my second one, and it's about to bloom on me, so pretty happy about that. And it's just kind of nice that it kind of hugs that little bend of the spiral plant stand. Behind it, on the fourth shelf down, you see my Peperomia angulata. That is my original mother plant, as well as part of my subscriber's cuttings that she gave me from her plant. So it's really nice to be able to put my plant and my subscriber's plant together to make a full planter. So thank you. You guys are awesome. Corner here, tucked away, you see my fishtail bird's nest fern. And it's living life here, super happy. So I'm gonna keep it here, and I always rotate my plants. So that's kind of what's hitting in that corner. In the bottom corner here, you see my Sigonium, also super happy there, as well as my second epiphyllum, my Rick Rack Zigzag. It's just being housed here. It's been living, hanging off of my spiral plant stand for a while, so hopefully it's happy here, but if not, I will move him. Peperomia Red Edge, still in the same place in that corner pocket on that stand. I love it there. That thing is really huge, so I'm trying to think if I ever would move it to another section of my space. I don't know where I would put him, so for now the Red Edge stays there. My bird's nest fern moved to this section, but I do kind of gotta think about moving it to other parts of the collection because it does get sunburn from the sun hitting it right there. So eventually I'll move the bird's nest fern. You see, I'm able to hang more things. I have a little dream catcher there, as well as like that little hanging decor all from that store 20 something years ago. In this big hanging basket, you see my Ripsalis. I don't know what kind of hybrid he is. Super special. Never seen him before. Lots of new growth and little white blooms come off of it. So I'm interested to see when that happens. And then I have some new aeoniums that have been incorporated into my space. These were gifted to me from my plant friend Carrie. So that is definitely a part of my newer plants that have been welcomed into my space. Bavaria, as well as my philodendron atomic bomb, as well as my asparagus fern. I got some squirrel there hiding in between them. Those are gifted to me from Carrie, as well as the Peperomia Hope that was gifted to me from my subscriber in Long Beach, and my beautiful Hoya obovata mother plant. Kind of hugging. And part one here in the front of my studio door. I have a bunch of hanging plants here. My mother plant, my Hoya Crinkle 8. I am propagating babies from it. I know a bunch of you guys have some, which is pretty cool to have a part of my Crinkle 8. I also have my original trailing jade here. It loves living here on the patio door, so I definitely don't mind keeping it here, and I can enjoy its beautiful trails. I have another Hoya Carnosa in all green here, living life. Lots of new growth, so I know it's super happy. Plants I want to highlight for part one is one of them, my Hoya Carnosa tricolor. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this plant baby. And then right behind me is my beautiful Hoya multiflora, which is currently in bloom. I will be taking its bloom off probably today or tomorrow, now that I was able to showcase it in today's video. Okay, guys, that is going to wrap up my plant tour for part 1 of Spring 2020 Patio Edition. Stay tuned, I will be filming right after this part 2 of my patio. If you enjoyed the plant tour, it's nice to be able to see these little changes. Even now I'm able to hear my wind chimes going, which I've kind of been storing now for over 20 years, so it's nice to see them dangling and enjoying the fresh Santa Monica breeze. I absolutely love the little updates that I was able to incorporate in my space, from the patio lights stringing above the patio with my Nepal prayer flags crossing over now instead of just hugging those sides of the space, and all of these cute little hanging things just really warms my heart. As you can see in part 1, there is tons of plant babies that were gifted to me from a bunch of plant friends and subscribers, so thank you guys so much. And if you ever want to send me anything, I always forget to mention this, my mailing address is in my description box. Fun things happening here. As you see, I did a lot of work in my spring clean with me, incorporating a lot of planting with Jewelyns, bringing in plant babies to showcase for this tour. A lot of plants, if you watch on my Planting with Jewelyn live, were pulled off of the shelf and I propagated them, and that's okay. You know, they had their time on the succulent shelf and they'll be able to come out again when they are looking at its best potential. But for now, I was able to bring out more plant babies into this space from subscribers and plant friends, and I just love the unique charm that my collection embraces from myself and from all of you guys. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel Monday through Thursday, the vlog channel Friday through Sunday. You get a video each and every day. Sound off in the comments down below if you enjoyed all of the little updates to the space. I am definitely enjoying it, and now I'm able to do Planting with Jewelyn live at night, and I will be doing another Planting with Jewelyn live during the day in 2 days, which I'm really excited to share my space on live. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you for part 2 of my patio spring 2020 plant tour. Until then, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye!